kicked the 3.5-year heroin habit in Rikers Island, they wouldn't give me any methadone, okay? I thought at that time that that was gonna be enough to keep me clean, because I was trying to think my way into a better life, like, oh, this has gotta be it. I've gotta stop using drugs now. I'm going through major withdrawal with nothing. After I got to the end of the withdrawal in that facility, I ended up coming down with the flu, and I couldn't even get any meds for it at all, because they thought I was scamming them trying to get drugs, but I wasn't. They thought I was trying to get methadone, and I really truly was sick. Anyway, I ended up back in New Jersey, and I ended up in a couple treatment facilities, and I had a probation officer, and I was responsible to urinate in a cup, and they expected that urine to be clean. And they would come to my house at 8 o'clock at night, and I needed to be home. And my probation officer would stand in front of me and have me urinate in that cup. And again, this is how strong this disease is. I knew that I would get sent to Massachusetts, and I was not physically addicted at the time. I was not using every day, but yet I could not stop using. And I would try to scam her with whatever I could get my hands on and give her fake urine, and I would always get caught. Consequences for this addict don't matter. It's the using, it's the euphoria that I always sought, and then I would deal with the consequences after. I ended up getting sent to a treatment facility in Saugus, Massachusetts in 1995. I had a trash bag of clothes and $3 in my pocket, and I had no intention of stopping using. I heard about Lynn, Massachusetts. I says, okay, I'm going to go through the treatment facility. I'm going to get probation off my back, and I'm going to use the way I can use. New Jersey will cut me loose. I'll live in Massachusetts, and I'll start my career again as a stripper. That's what I wanted to do. I got out of that facility I used for 9 months. What the clean time that I had while I was on probation, I didn't realize how good I had it, having to be clean, until I experienced being on the streets of Lynn with no family, not really any friends. I was about 115 pounds. I was getting clothes out of a Salvation Army bin. I was skinny enough to climb in and out of there. What I really recognized at that point was my spirit. I had no spirit. I had no spark. Anybody who knows me, I have a great spirit. I like to laugh. I like to talk. It was gone. And I used to look at people on the streets of Lynn who seemed like they had a normal life, that they weren't strung out like I was, and I wanted that life. I did not want to be living my life. But I also knew that there was hope, that I could somehow get to the other side if I could only. And I was not ready to accept that I was going to be living that way for the rest of my life. September 23rd, 1996, I had just done a lot of things that I didn't want to do to get money. I gave it to a guy. He ran up into a rooming house that was a locked door. I never saw my money again, okay? That's the best thing that could have happened to me, because the next day I went into treatment, and I've been clean ever since. And I can't do this alone. I went into treatment. I went into Tewksbury Detox. Everybody busted my chops because I have a New Jersey accent. They were like, what are you doing here? I ended up in the Ryan House in Lynn, Mass. And I stayed there. I actually stayed in sober living for about 2 years. I came into contact with Dr. Valley in 1997, and I had the opportunity to go and be the coordinator of the sober house. And I was working for Stop and Shop at the time, making $4.80 an hour in the produce department. Very grateful for that job, and very grateful to the man who I still visit today, who gave me that opportunity, knowing that I was a recovering addict. That job taught me humility. It taught me how to budget money. It taught me how to be responsible. I took the bus there because I had no driver's license. Eventually I ended up, I stayed in the Grace House, and those were the best times of my life, early recovery. I'll tell you, life was simple. I really appreciated things. I still do today, but life was just simpler back then. Got my license back from the state of New Jersey. I started visiting my family. My mom no longer waited on her porch, wondering where I was. She knew I was going to come. First it was by bus, then it was train, plane, and then I was able to drive down there. I'm actively involved in a fellowship. I go to one fellowship. I have a sponsor. That's been going on this entire time. I attend meetings regularly, and I still do today, and I also sponsor women. I left the Grace House in probably 2000. I got an apartment, which I rode a bicycle to get that apartment. I got a better job working in the drug testing industry, believe it or not. I ended up staying in Lynn for 12 years. I got offered a job in another drug testing company as a sales rep in 2006. Didn't have any sales experience. I just walked through fear. You know, I just did the best I could. I used my personality. I got deployed back down to New Jersey a little over 3 years ago to cover northern New Jersey and upstate New York, selling drug testing to doctors that are prescribing for pain. Now I know when I go into a doctor's office and it's a Jerry Springer show in a waiting room, I know exactly what's going on. And I know exactly how to convince the doctor that he needs to test without revealing that I'm on it. I bought my own home last year. I'm single. I'm 46 years old. I bought my own home. And I've been the #1 sales rep in that company since the middle of 2009 to today. I have a team of great people that I work with in New Jersey. I'm not doing this by myself, but I went down there like on blind faith. I didn't know what was going to happen with the job, but I knew that I was going to be able to stay clean. It's a blessing to be back in Massachusetts. Okay, I've got a bond here. I talked to Harry tonight. I found out that we both went to the same facility and got clean over on Green Street at Cap. I don't forget where I came from. I know that my addiction is in my thinking and that I'm never going to be cured. I continue to go to meetings and work my recovery because I know what happens to people who sometimes step out of that. And my job, my success, having my family back in my life, having a cat, you know, that doesn't equal recovery for me. Those are just benefits of it. Being here tonight, again, enhances my recovery and allows me to get back to be able to say, like, yes, there is hope. You know, and if it were not for a probation team who believed in me, I wouldn't be here tonight. And I also want to say in closing that I went back to them a little over a year ago, to the same 2 probation officers who sent me kicking and screaming to Massachusetts, and they had no idea who I was. They thought I was either a PO or a lawyer. And they couldn't believe, and they said, nobody ever comes back here. And they took me over to the courthouse where I used to be shackled in the orange suit, and I saw offenders in there going through the same thing that I used to go through in front of the judge. And I was there that day to let them know. Their names are John Bell and Laura Bilanowski. I just wanted to let them know, like, that the work they do makes a difference. And even though I hated them back then, and I didn't want to come up here, and I wanted them to leave me alone, and I wanted to use, and I was killing myself, I wanted to let them know that their work makes a difference. And I know it's not glamorous, because I know they put up with a lot of crap from people, you know. It felt wonderful to be able to do that, and it's wonderful to be here tonight. Thank you.